So, hello everybody. We're gonna... Hello, I'm doing it too soon. Hello everybody, and we're going back around. Okay, today's video is obviously not what you're used to seeing on this channel. Do not worry, because you were obviously deeply concerned. The singing is not going away. I will still be uploading. I'm going to try to upload every Sunday. These videos are going to be going up every Wednesday, tentatively. We'll see how that works out, and every is a strong word. These videos are a new series that I want to introduce to this channel, where I critique books and TV shows and movies. And I don't really know why I didn't do this sooner, because I've been doing this for a while. Critiquing, that is. I've been, well, you can ask pretty much anyone. I will destroy your favorite movie without even trying. So I thought, hey, why not make videos out of these? Because I realized that the videos I have been making over on my other channel, on the Swashbuckler's Arsenal, I am not as interested as I would like to be, and I realized because I'm not really as passionate about sewing as I am about writing. So I'm definitely really excited about these videos, and I can't wait to see how you guys react. I just started editing this video, and wow, it's long. So I'm going to try to learn to keep things concise. We'll see how that goes, and without further ado, let's get into it. Today's video is going to be on Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer. If you guys don't know who that is or what this is, well, I'm sorry. Anyways, the other thing is yes, it is the second book in a 3 series, but the third one hasn't come out yet. And the first one was okay. When it comes to superheroes, if you know me, I can't stand them. Oh yeah, I hate superheroes. So it's really hard to make an interesting story that I don't like. Oh, like! Stop saying like! It's really gonna interrupt my train of thought every time I say like. I'm gonna just like freak. The thought is like there, ow, but I can't grab it. So. Oh. I hate superheroes, so it's really hard to make a story where I can't stand the characters. Where I can't stand the characters. Yeah, where I can't. Anyway, so the first one was pretty okay, and the characters were really great, mainly because they couldn't stand superheroes. The main character, Nova, thinks that the world would be better without any, what do they call them, prodigies. And I completely agree. It's a great world without them, and life would suck with the Renegades trilogy or whatever. But anyways, it's about, there's 2 sections. So you got the Avengers and you got, I'm kidding. You've got the Renegades and you've got the Anarchists. And the Anarchists follow a guy named Ace Anarchy. So basically, before the time of the Anarchists, prodigies were killed and massacred and tortured and stuff because everybody thought they were like witches and stuff. Ace Anarchy rose up, Nova's uncle, Nova's the main character. Ace Anarchy rose up to free the prodigies. And he did. Problem is, he overthrew the government and didn't really replace it. So a whole bunch of gangs rose up and the whole economy just crashed and nobody was safe anywhere. So, to solve the problem, the Renegades rise up, which obviously makes them the heroes, right? No, I can't stand them. Anyways, the Renegades rise up to stop Ace Anarchy, but they pretty much make the same mistake that he did. They end up cheating and defeating him. Literally, one of the characters brings a child into battle because the child can suck other people's powers away, so the only way to beat Ace Anarchy was to take that child to him where he could take away his power and they could defeat him. Cheaters. They defeat Ace Anarchy, but then they set themselves up as the government, which is just messed up. At the end of the first book, there's this like exchange, and then Blacklight mentioned something called Agent N, and immediately it was kind of pretty obvious that Agent N was something that took powers away because, I mean, there's not much originality when it comes to superhero stories, and of course, that's where they were going to take it. Oh, yeah. So, oh my goodness gracious, I'm horrible at explaining things. Okay, so there's a couple of anarchists that are still alive. Nova's one of them, but the world doesn't know Nova exists. They know her secret identity, Nightmare. Nobody knew who she was, so they decided to send her in to become a renegade undercover. So that's what the whole story is about. Anyways, second book comes in, and that's where it all falls apart. Like, seriously, I was loving the book about halfway through, and then after that, I couldn't stand it. The amount of things that happened, so you know how people do things with TV shows where they have a good TV show and then they just water it down to stretch it out, and you're just like, this could have been 3 seasons instead of 16, you know? That's this. There was no need for 3 books. You could have totally fit it in 2. The number one thing that I find that I can't stand in stories is when the audience figures something out long before the main character does. Don't do that. It makes the character look stupid. So, the whole Agent N thing. Blacklight says that in front of Nova and Adrian. So, it was pretty obvious what he was talking about. He doesn't just say Agent N. No, he says a full sentence, and I don't know in that book, so I don't know. We'll just a full sentence that basically completely gives it away. And Nova and Adrian are like, and it's like, seriously? Another thing was Ace Anarchy. Well, spoilers. Like, okay, duh. Ace Anarchy isn't dead. And that was another one that it was just kind of obvious. Ace Anarchy can fly, and the way they killed him was they pushed him off a wall. Okay? Like, I mean, they did take away his power, but not all of it. Max has come in contact. Max is the kid who can take away powers. Max has come into contact with other people, and they still have their powers, just not, like, as much as they did originally. But, so it was kind of obvious. Underpowered villains, good night. The end of the second book comes. Ace Anarchy is the strongest prodigy who has ever lived. They make that a very big point. Yes, he lost some of his power to Max, but he's still supposedly the biggest, most powerful prodigy ever to exist. You know who beats him? 3 kids. Kids, okay? And their powers aren't even that great. Like, and it wasn't even 3 kids, because he defeats 2 of them, and then the last one just kind of single-handedly knocks him over because he was so old and weak. Like, okay, even being weak should still be able to beat a kid, okay? Without even trying, without even breaking a sweat, okay? Maybe breaking a sweat, but still beating him. Before they face Ace Anarchy, they face another huge prodigy named Phobia. He fights, like, for a minute, and then one of his, what were they called? Bats? One of them dies, and then he just vanishes. And he doesn't run to go protect Ace Anarchy, which was his entire job. He just leaves. So then, like, they had this whole other mission going on, and they come back, and Phobia's like, yeah, they took Ace. And you're just like, where were you? Like, yeah! So, against 2 of the biggest prodigies, 4 brainless kids, basically, stop them. If you want me to respect your villain, make him powerful. Don't make him, you push him over and he just dies. Okay, don't do that. This is the reason why I think that Phobia shouldn't have been able to beat by them. Shouldn't have been able to be beaten by them. All those beasts. Okay, anyways. Adrian's adopted now, but his mom, his birth mom, was a renegade as well. She was murdered, and so an underlining kind of story that's been going through the past 2 books as well is trying to discover who her murderer is, and right now it's standing as it's probably Phobia. So this renegade, who is like one of the top most powerful renegades, is killed by Phobia, and then Phobia is beat by a bunch of kids. This is why it doesn't make sense, okay? You can't do that. There were way too many almosts. Basically, this is what I mean about stretching it out or watering it down and stretching it out, was there was so many spots where one of the characters almost found out something and then it stopped. 1, okay. 2, maybe let it slide. 3 times? No, that's just way too much. The first one, Adrian almost finds the tunnel that would lead to Ace Anarchy, but then he gets a magical, like, ringer on his watch He got a ringer on his, like, Apple Watch, but not, and he went to go answer that. And the thing is about a gut feeling, because he had this gut instinct about this poster that was covering the tunnel that led to Ace Anarchy. And when you have a gut feeling, or a gut instinct, or an instinct, period, how long does it take to lift the poster? Like, wouldn't you lift the poster before you left? It takes 2 seconds. You were standing right there. Why wouldn't you? Okay, anyways, that's one. Okay, let that slide. But then Nova is searching his room, and she comes across his Sentinel drawings. Now, his Sentinel drawings, he's already a renegade, but he's got this side gig as a vigilante. The renegades have rules, and he doesn't follow the rules as the Sentinel. So he has drawings of his Sentinel armor. But she comes across the drawings of his powers. I'm not going to explain everything, but he has to draw his powers. Okay. So she comes across the drawings of his powers, which of course don't mean anything to her because she doesn't know anything about that. But for some reason, his Sentinel drawings, which we know exist because we saw him draw them in the first place, aren't with those drawings. And they weren't anywhere else in the apartment. So where are they? Because he never burned them, he didn't shred them, and he doesn't have some secret hidden compartment that I remember. I mean, I could just have forgotten, but it just seems a little too unlikely that they wouldn't be in the same spot. So that one, again, okay, maybe he had the forethought to destroy the paper, and maybe Marissa Meyer just forgot to tell us. But then, Sentinel is based off of a comic book character that he created when he was a kid. He never showed anybody them, but his parents had seen it. So she's going through their office because they're like head of renegades or whatever, and she's trying to find something. So she's going through their office and comes across the comic books. But not the one with the suit yet. No, she finds the first comic book. Guess what's under the first comic book? The second comic book. But just as she's about to lift the first comic book, and below it, it will show who the Sentinel is, she hears footsteps. She drops it, and she leaves the entire thing. I mean, that's just too much. That's just too many almost. That's too much. You're getting there, and you're not there. She becomes Nightmare in the very ending. It was that side mission that they were doing when Ace Anarchy and Phobia got beat by a bunch of children. She runs into both Callum and Max, two people that she has as Nova come into contact several times. And yet neither of them know that it's her. Callum has a power that involves your mind. It's a long process, and he did it with Nova, but he hasn't done it with Nightmare. And she says something that completely gives it away, and even he's like, you know my power? Contradictory beliefs. Nova is adamant, like she almost blows her cover because she is so against Agent N, which is the serum that takes away powers. She's just completely against. And she's saying we don't have any right to decide who's born with these powers and who's not. Fate is the only person who has that right, or whatever, fate. But she's just adamantly against it when she's Nightmare, and she's in the fight with these renegades that she doesn't like, this team that she doesn't like. She doesn't even think twice about using it on them. And it's just kind of like, well, there went your morals, so is it only important when it's your side? Following up with that, basically the renegades use the serum in like dart form, but the problem is there's a whole bunch of superheroes who have like impenetrable skin, so it's kind of pointless against them. So the anarchists come up with a different way to use it. They come up with gas bombs, but the thing is, the renegades didn't want to do that because it can affect the person throwing the gas bomb just as much as it affects everybody else. But Adrian, the Sentinel, found this gem or something that gives you immunity to any prodigy-based like power or whatever. So it makes her immune to the bombs. She uses the bombs on the team she doesn't like. The thing is, they're gas bombs, okay? The whole point of them was to not only affect people who have impenetrable skin, but also to affect multiple people at once. Like, it would take forever for the anarchists to destroy all of the renegades. We're talking about, like, basically as big as S.H.I.E.L.D. Just that many. It would take them forever if they had darts. So they created the gas bomb. However, in this fight, she literally uses one for each of them. The gas disperses too quickly, so it only affects one person at a time. So, what was the point exactly? Yeah, anyways. So Adrian, his power, he's called Sketch. His power is that he can draw things into existence. So he figured out that he could give himself tattoos and give himself powers. Okay, creative. So basically he's explained it before, but that he has to understand how something works in order to make it work. So if he draws a gun, he has to understand how a gun works for it to work. Otherwise, it would just be like a play gun and it wouldn't actually shoot anything. So his powers make sense, and he worked really hard on making them work. But then he decides to take that gem that gives immunity to someone, and he decides he's going to draw that on himself. However, he does not understand how that works. He's said that like several times. So he just draws the symbol that's on the stone on his chest. But he doesn't have whatever the gem is made up of. And who said it was the symbol that was making you immune? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It has to be the gem. So at first I was like, oh, it's not going to work. But then it does. And that just, no. The ending, it was set up perfectly. Adrian was there facing Ace Anarchy, and Adrian, as I said, his parents are part of the Renegades, and they had already talked about kidnapping him. The side mission that they were doing when they were having that fight was to get Ace Anarchy's helmet back, which gives him powers. Magneto who? They get his helmet, they get away, and Ace Anarchy is captured. It was set up to end it differently, and then it changed. Maybe that's the way it had been from the beginning, but I just think that was a very big missed opportunity to end it much better. Also, big missed opportunity. They talk about, oh, we're gonna use Agent N on the Renegades. We're gonna use Agent N on the Renegades, and then the night that they go to get Ace Anarchy's magical helmet is the night of the Renegades Gala. The what now? The Renegades Gala. So how many Renegades are there? All of them. How many? All of them. How many? Okay, not all of them, but most of them. And so what do? Well, she shows up there. And then she leaves. And she goes and gets the helmet. And that's the end. So how many Renegades were at this gala? The gala! The just gas bomb, the gala. It was the biggest opportunity and it wasn't like they surprised the the anarchists by going, hey, surprise, we're having a gala. No. This was planned. Like, for a long time. And not only that, but one of your very own had an invitation in and could totally have access to, like, the ventilation system. Have you seen any sci-fi movie ever? That was a very, very, very big missed opportunity. And that's another reason why I think that this could have ended in just, like, if it was 3 books, have them bomb the gala, and a couple of people escape. There would be a couple of people who would be immune to it, and they get out, but everybody else loses their power. And end the story with them bombing the gala and getting Ace's helmet and capturing Adrian. And that's how you end the story. You end the story with, the Ace Anarchists have won. They've won. That's it. And at this point, the readers don't really know whether to be rooting for Ace Anarchy or the Renegades. And really, that's the point. They're both wrong. And most right isn't on either side of the coin. It's right smack dab in the middle. And that's the whole point of this series. And that's why I really think it had potential. And I loved the storyline of being like, hey, people need to rescue themselves. People need, the whole moral of the books so far has been, People need to rescue themselves. People need to work for themselves. They need to build their own cities. They need to vote for their own rulers. They don't need these superheroes to do it for them. And the more that you get used to living in a society where somebody else does something for you 100% of the time, the less of a capable human being you are. Also, the problem with prodigies living in, like, if this was reality, is a human self-worth just drops dramatically. Like, just, what's the point? I mean, if you're not a prodigy, if you're not born a prodigy, if you're not lucky enough to be born a prodigy. And that's why I love the world we live in, and I love the fact that we don't live in a world with prodigies, because who you are and how powerful you are and any of that, that's all under your control. You control if you are going to go work out and get fit and strong. You control if you're going to train martial arts and be able to beat anybody. You know, you're in control over how smart you are. You know, if you study, I genuinely believe that there are certain people who are obviously born with a high IQ, but I think that if anybody wanted to study hard and become smart, that any person with any IQ could do it. They just need to, you know, to take it into their own hands and work hard at it. And that's the world we live in. We don't live in a world with prodigies, and that was the whole point of the book. I don't know where I was going with that, but it was a nice rant. So anyways, the ending does not end the way I just said, which would have been brilliant. Instead, it ended with, like I said, Ace Anarchy's captured by a bunch of kids. Nova has the helmet. Adrian coming over to the house, and she thinks he knows. I don't know, I don't remember why she thinks that he knows, but she thinks he knows, and that she's there, somebody's there to be arrested. Anyway, she picks up the helmet, puts it in the closet, opens the door, Adrian comes in. He thinks Nightmare hurt Max, when actually Nova was trying to save Max. So he's like really pissed off at Nightmare now. So he's like, help me find her, and she says, of course, as she looks up and the closet door opens slightly because it never shuts all the way, convenient, and sees Ace Anarchy's helmet in the closet, and that's the way the story ends. Not really a cliffhanger, but, you know, I'm still going to read the third book because, yeah, why not? Anyways, I'm going to stop talking because this video is ridiculously long. I've had to dump my SD card twice. Please let me know if you guys enjoyed this, regardless of whether you did or you didn't. I'm going to keep doing them anyways because I've had the most fun filming this video. Just as a side note, I am not just some random person who likes to beat up on other people's hard work. I am a writer. No, with nothing published. I know. Anyways, I am a writer. If I was going to give anybody advice on writing, it is to critique other people's work. When you build that train of thought of critiquing, you get really good at critiquing your own work, and therefore you see holes in your work before anybody else does, and you can like build a better story. So whenever I'm critiquing somebody else's work, I'm not saying I'm better than them. I'm just saying that I caught something that maybe they didn't catch, or maybe they were hoping somebody else didn't catch. I know how hard it is to write a story, so I do appreciate the work that went into this, and like I said, it had great potential. It had great potential. And that moral, I love that moral, and I love the characters in it. I would just say that it could have been better. If you would like me to review something that you hate, I would love to do that because I love reviewing stuff that I can't stand. Please subscribe if you haven't already and hit the notification bell so that you're notified every single time that I upload. And please like and comment down below any suggestions or requests. That outro is pretty much the same outro as I do on the Swashbuckler's Arsenal. Who needs variety? And I'm out. I guess that's what we're doing from now on because I just did it and I have no idea what I just did. Okay.